You, come here! I knew you would come because you had no...
Brandon Ma, played by Brandon Lee, is a hard-working and honest young man living in Hong Kong. He works as a waiter by day and part-time deliverman by night. He's deeply in love with his longtime girlfriend, May. Brandon's best friend, Michael, is outwardly charming but secretly involved in drug trafficking and organized crime. Michael is also obsessed with May and becomes envious of Brandon's life and relationship. Determined to get rid of Brandon and take May for himself, Michael devises a malicious plan. Michael frames Brandon for the murder of a police officer by planting drugs and a gun in his delivery van. Brandon is arrested and sentenced to 8 years in prison, losing everything he holds dear, including May, who is manipulated into believing Brandon is guilty and abandons him. In prison, Brandon is forced to adapt to a harsh and violent environment. Over the years, he transforms physically and emotionally. He trains his body and sharpens his mind. He also befriends Hing, a seasoned inmate who helps him survive. Hing teaches Brandon how to fight and think like a man who must live by his instincts. Slowly, Brandon begins to shed his naivete and becomes hardened by betrayal and injustice. Meanwhile, Michael rises to power in the criminal world. He consolidates control over his gang and expands his influence, eventually becoming a feared drug lord. With Brandon out of the picture, he continues to manipulate May, convincing her to stay with him. However, she remains emotionally distant, haunted by the past. After serving his full sentence, Brandon is released from prison. The world has changed, and so has he. He's no longer the gentle young man he once was, he's now a man with nothing left to lose. Brandon begins investigating what happened and quickly uncovers the truth. Michael was the one who framed him, took May, and built his empire on betrayal. Fueled by rage and vengeance, Brandon tracks down his old friends, learns more about Michael's operations, and begins dismantling his empire piece by piece. He reconnects with May, who is both shocked and overjoyed to see him alive. She reveals the emotional manipulation Michael subjected her to over the years. Their reunion rekindles the bond they once shared, and May vows to help Brandon take Michael down. In the climactic third act, Brandon stages a daring assault on Michael's heavily guarded estate. Armed and battle-ready, he storms the compound in a high-octane action sequence filled with gunfire, martial arts combat, and brutal retribution. In one of the rooms, Brandon finds May murdered. Devastated, he vows to avenge Michael, but before that he finds out he has son with May, whom she kept him a secret from Brandon. Brandon fights his way through waves of henchmen and eventually confronts Michael in a one-on-one showdown. In a tense and emotional confrontation, Brandon finally defeats Michael, killing him in a moment of personal vindication. At end, Brandon and his son wander off together.